Hey fam, and welcome to the Happily Ever Active podcast powered by Fit for the Magic. I'm Stephen Kabibi, your friendly personal healthcare companion, and I help Disney travelers walk more, hurt less, and enjoy the magic without burnout. This week, I am joined by my good friend Jessie to talk about her top tips for planning your Walt Disney World runDisney Marathon Race weekend. Jessie's been participating in runDisney races since 2012, making her a veteran runDisney athlete. On this episode, we cover why runDisney is something you should do even if you don't consider yourself a runner, which Jessie does say several times she doesn't consider herself a runner. We go over her top training tips, especially for slower runners, how to fuel for a race weekend at Disney, her top PhotoPass tips, what to expect with each different race course for the 2026 marathon race weekend, and much more. Find everything, including my pocketbook guide, Disney Ready, your pain-free park survival guide, over at www.fitforthemagic.com. And if you learned something useful on this episode, please share the show and tell a friend. Okay, here we go. Jessie, I'm so excited to have you on today's episode where we talk about runDisney, clearly, but with the runDisney Marathon weekend coming up shortly and the courses just being announced last week. I thought it would be a great time to just really get a little bit deeper into the upcoming marathon, what to expect, but also especially for the Disney fanatics and Disney parks fans that are thinking about doing their first runDisney race, maybe thinking, marathon weekend, why the heck would I do that? Like, out of all races to do throughout the year, because there's a bunch, you're like, why would I do that? Well, I think Jessie is one of the best people to talk about. And, you know, she'll give you a little bit of perspective on why you might want to consider doing that. So, Jessie, thanks for joining me on tonight's episode.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here. So excited to talk about convince more people to do marathon. I was somebody who's like, I'm never going to run a marathon. And here we are for round 3. So
yeah,
yes.
You've clearly done more marathons than I have because I've done 0. My first will be this upcoming Dopey, and so clearly it's not going to be just a marathon. It's going to be a 5K, 10K, half, and then the marathon. It's going to be great.
It's going to be a whole weekend.
A whole weekend. So real quick, before we dive a little deeper into like logistics and things like that, you know, for listeners who are considering doing their first runDisney race, whether or not it's the half or the marathon or another race, like just go into how or what types of feelings you get when you've done runDisney, or like the best feeling that you've had, and you know what happened at that time. Like, why do you keep coming back? What's the one thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's actually such a good question. But I guess for a little bit of background, this is, I'm headed into my 17th runDisney event for Marathon Weekend, which will be crazy. But I started off when I was 14 years old running with my dad. And my dad was a big runner. We have loved Disney our entire lives. And this was at the point where you could just show up and sign up, basically. So we had, I think it had been like 3 months prior to race weekend, we just signed up for a 5K. I mean, it was 2012.
Yeah.
Disney was not the entity it is today. And we did this 5K and we loved it. And so we came back the following year for the Tower of Terror 10 miler, in 2013. So back before it came to Springtime Surprise. And I loved doing it with my dad. Like, I would never consider, I still really struggle to consider myself a runner. I know I am. This is my 3rd marathon. I hit all of the categories, right? But I really just love being active and I love spending time with those around me. So runDisney was the perfect fit for that. And I would say my dad is the biggest reason I keep coming back. And then the people that I've brought into the fold with runDisney, I now run with my mom, my cousins, like all of these people that honestly probably thought I was a little bit crazy in the beginning. Now also love runDisney. So for me, it's the people. And just, there's a lot of feelings you get on race weekend, but surrounding yourself with the runDisney community, and I would say all of the friends you maybe don't know yet, right? Like, you never know who you're going to meet at a race weekend and how they're going to help you cross that finish. But I joke that running at Disney is a team. It's a team sport.
Yeah.
And I think that's really why I love it. So
Yeah, that's incredible because you know you hear a lot about how people are like, oh, you get to run backstage, or you get to run,
yeah,
you get to see Cinderella Castle at night, or you get to, you get to ride a lot of different rides while you're in a race, which is
yeah,
crazy. But then I also hear this whole concept of like it's about the people, and it really is about the people when it comes down to it, right?
it is. And it's really hard to understand. It's hard to explain that to someone who hasn't been around a Run Disney event just yet. Like you can see it in our Facebook groups and all these different communities
Mm-hmm.
that have been built around Run Disney, right? But it is truly why I keep coming back. And just knowing that I always have a support system. I mean, just even living in Texas, there's so many of us here, and it's just really cool. Like when you're boarding the flight out to Orlando for race weekend, you're never alone, right?
Yeah.
Like you can always find the runner by the shoe. Like it's like, hey, are you participating marathon weekend this weekend? And I've met friends like that, and people I've
That's amazing.
stayed connected with, which is just, I mean, it's super cool.
And
Um,
it's not that far removed from like, okay, you're flying into Orlando just for a week at Disney. You know, you're
yeah,
bound to run into a family or a couple people or like the
absolutely.
entire plane. And then also, even when you're at the Disney parks, you're bound to meet someone new. You're bound to meet someone you're going to really relate to because everyone's
Yeah,
there for Disney. So, it's not
yeah,
that far. The Run Disney and the community surrounding it is not that far removed from
yeah,
Disney and the Disney parks, right? It's
yeah.
just a different type of level, a little bit, a different focus,
It
a different
is.
tribe almost.
It is. And it's like a subset of the Disney community, and it's one that I would say is welcoming to all, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Like I said before, I never considered myself a runner. I There's some days I really don't love running, but I still get out there, right? And I still do it for some reason. Um but
Wait, let me at least clear the air here. Look, if you are going at a pace that's faster than walking and faster than
yes.
jogging or faster than speed walking, and you're participating in a race, or whether or not you're even
Yes.
participating in a race, you are a runner.
Absolutely. And you know what? Like if there was someone who was a lot slower than me, I'd be like, well, they're a runner. It's more of like looking at myself
Yes.
and being like, I'm a runner that I would say I struggle with. Because all of the people that go out to Run Disney, like they're Run Disney athletes. They are runners. They're working with our hand cycle team. Like they are a part of Run Disney in
Yeah.
some way. I consider everyone some sort of athlete. It's more of putting myself in that category sometimes that I struggle with, but that's good, right? Like it's great to have a community that like is there to support me that even
Yes.
maybe when I don't put that label on myself, they will put that label on me for me, right? And I try and do that for other people too. So it's just it's a cool community. So
Yeah, that's really, really cool. And I mean, even for example, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe so there are time limits to most races except
yeah,
for the 5K, correct? So even if you
yeah,
are going to do your first Run Disney race and you're going to start small and do a 5K, you don't have to worry about the balloon ladies, right?
no, no.
Okay.
I actually, my mom has been very upset with me with Run Disney because I actually told her that there were the balloon ladies of the 5K just to like, because I wanted her to go fast enough that we could see characters.
Ah,
So I
okay,
told her,
yeah,
and then we show up, and she's like, "Well, where are the balloon ladies?" Well, no, we're not here. So that was a funny experience. She's still, now informs everyone who does the Disney 5K that there are no balloon ladies. She's the only person I've ever told that because
yeah.
I wanted to see my characters.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's 16-minute miles from the last person who crosses the start, which gives you some buffer depending on what corral you're in. And I really appreciate that because like I'm not gonna go out and run a straight mile. I still struggle with running a straight mile. Like I can do it, but I don't love it. So it's like for me, being able to run, walk, and doing the Galloway method is life changing. And I would tell that to anybody who is thinking about doing a Run Disney race and is stressed about pacing. Like look at the Galloway method because I think it
Yes.
really lowers that barrier to entry of like having to hit that 16-minute just because it makes it easier. It's like you don't
Hmm.
have to run 6 miles straight. That is not what Disney's asking you to
Right.
do. Like you can get out there, you can run, walk. I swear by the Galloway method. I'll tell you that. That is the only reason why I am now on my third marathon. Is the Galloway method.
That's amazing. Yeah, and like you said, I mean, the gallery method. There's just the fact that it's a former Olympian that had come up with that method, and
Yeah.
then also the fact that there are people that can walk faster than they can run.
Yeah.
Like they put faster times on a marathon doing that.
Yeah.
It basically speaks for itself at that point. So,
Yeah.
and
Absolutely. And it makes it more fun to me.
yeah,
Like for me,
exactly.
and
You get to soak it in.
everyone is to each their own. You have people that will go out there and put down a 3:30 marathon time, and I am so incredibly proud of them, and they're loving it, right? That is your race day is your race day, right? So
Hmm.
how do you make it what you need it to be? And for me it's run walk. I have a lot more fun that way. My 6.5 hour marathon time, it's my sweet spot. Maybe we'll be faster this year, maybe we'll be slower. I have no idea, but it'll be fun. I'll tell you
It'll be
that.
fun, exactly, and that's what it comes down to, right?
Yeah.
That's what it comes
Yep.
down to. So why don't we move into, since we talked about the Galloway method and training, why don't we talk a little bit about that? But take me to a time when you felt either like completely drained during a race weekend, a run Disney race weekend, or like super sore, or take me to a time where something like that happened, and what might have gone wrong, or what was the reason behind that.
Oh, I have a list. And my list has gotten smaller the longer I've
That's
run because
important.
I've gotten
That is very
smarter when it
important.
comes to listening to science. Um, I would say the biggest one was when I took a couple years off of Run Disney. I took a couple years off of racing. Just I was in school and just things were crazy. So I took a couple years off, and I remember when I made my comeback race in my head, right? Like I'm not racing for anybody else other than myself. So my big comeback race, it was the Seoul. Believe it was the Seoul half marathon.
Hmm.
Because I was waiting for a sign. I was like, "What's my sign to come back?" And I love the movie Soul. I was like, "Done."
Great movie.
It's like
Yes.
such a low key theme, right? Like so
Yeah.
many people have no idea what the movie Soul was, but I was out there and I ran as Terry. But I clearly remember my run as Terry. I really hurt my knee, and it just like it wasn't. I know my body well enough to know when pain is going to be like a long-term thing and pain is going to be a little bit temporary.
Hmm.
So I knew that I was just going to have to suffer the back, call it 8 miles. It was a while.
That is a
And you
while.
just kind of gotta, you just gotta like tough it out. I'm like, I'm getting my soul medal. I did not come this far. It's right there. It's right there. I got it.
Hey.
um, but yeah, I really reflected after that race weekend. I was like, okay, like we're gonna have to sit down, really think about what I need to do to not be in that situation again. And it came down to cross training. I think I really
Hmm.
focused on running. And did not focus enough on strength training. And it's still something that I am not doing enough. And I really tried in this marathon cycle. I was lifting 2 to 3 days a week, where last cycle was closer to one. I'm doing a lot more yoga, stretching, just stuff like that year round. Even if you are emotionally dead from a day of work, if you can just do 5 to 10 minutes of stretching in your office, right? Or just while you're watching a Netflix show, any little thing can really help. And I've really seen that pay off this training season. So it took me a little bit to learn the lesson. I did not have as significant knee pain, but I do think coming back this round, I am hopeful that this will be my best race weekend pain wise.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah,
I think
we
it'll
will
be
see.
good.
But I mean, the fact
So,
that you've been learning, so I want to emphasize the fact that you've learned your body, and within the time frame that you've done Run Disney.
yeah.
You know what your body can handle, what you can push through, what you should slow down on, but also how cross training is important, and then also scheduling that cross training within your day-to-day routine to
Yeah.
fit the routine and not just try and jam it in, right? 5 to 10 minutes is a lot better than zero.
It is. It is.
That's a huge thing to know.
And I remember when I did my first marathon, one of the best pieces of advice I got was, hey, if you're going to be a slower pace like I am, you should practice standing like for extended periods of time, which I was like, that doesn't make a lot of sense. Let me tell you,
Yeah,
I have a standing desk, and that was one of the best things I could have done was standing throughout my workday. And it's harder than you think, let me say. Like,
it
it
is.
sounds so easy just standing there. But that was one of the really good things that I could do while working, right? I could do, even
Hmm.
if I was like doing errands, doing this, like just standing for longer periods of time makes it a lot easier on race day. That's not running, right? That's not walking. That's just
It,
literally standing, and that really
it's the
helps.
things you don't think about.
It's
Absolutely.
the
And
things you don't think about.
if if
That makes
if
all the difference on race day.
if you, the listener, are wondering why the heck that makes sense and why that works, it's really because when you're running, the faster you run, the less time you spend on the ground, right?
Hmm.
Running is basically a bunch of jumps from 1 foot to 1 foot. And the faster you're running, like if you look at Olympic athletes, Olympic sprint athletes, they're spending as little time on the ground as possible because they're using all their energy just to just push them forward. But if they're going
Hmm.
slower, their feet have a higher contact time. They're spending more time on the ground,
Yeah.
which means your muscles actually have to work differently and kind of harder in a sense to keep yourself, propelling forward. But in other words, that translates to, okay, you're spending more time on the ground, you should spend some more time standing and use some of
Yep.
those same muscles and those same, contraction patterns to be able
Yeah.
to do that. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But like to the average listener, that might not.
Yeah. It life changing for me on my first marathon. Like, and then I could sit there during the workday. I'm like, yeah, I'm sitting here at my standing, or well, I'm not sitting. I'm standing at my standing desk, right? Training for my marathon, all
Yeah.
while being on a work call.
Next time my supervisor comes in and I'm standing, I'm gonna be like, "Hey, I'm training for Run
I'm
Disney."
marathon training. I'm working on my dopey training. Like, but yeah, it's the little things, right?
Yeah, it
It's the
totally
minor
is.
things that really make all the difference.
Absolutely. And so, why don't we move on to a little bit more of like the logistics surrounding a race weekend, especially
Yeah.
when it comes to something like a half marathon and then a marathon where you're waking up super early and then you're running for, between, depending on how fast you run, 4 to 5 to 6 hours, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of listeners out there that are thinking about doing a Run Disney race or an entire weekend may be planning like a week long trip with family.
Yeah.
How do you handle going to bed early enough so you get enough time to recover and sleep and rest up for your race? How do you handle that while also navigating the fact that your family won't be running with you?
Yeah. Well, so for just so people know my family background, I typically travel with my parents, and then my cousins. So my cousins and I are typically the runners, and my dad, we're typically the runners. And then my mom and other family members are the cheers. Like they're the professional cheerleaders that go on the side of the course.
Yeah.
Um, so the big thing that we do, specifically my cousins and I, struggle a little bit more with being sleep deprived than my dad does. We have our own room connected. Like, so if we're at Coronado Springs, like we'll have an adjoining room. So our
Yeah.
room will go to sleep much earlier. And that being able to shut that door, but also for the rest of the vacation, being able to have that kind of conjoined room is key. So for us, that's crucial. My dad's a little bit better about being a little bit more sleep deprived. I'm just not. I've hit the point that I'm like, if I'm not in bed by 6:30, I'm gonna struggle. Um, Specifically with marathon weekend, I'm very like, gotta be in bed, gotta be doing this, like gotta be
Yep.
eating.
Yep.
I'm a little bit more, you could call it like type A in that situation of like most Disney weekends. I'm like, yeah, we can eat whenever, we can do this. Like if it's marathon weekend, I'm in charge. Um, so that is my best piece of advice, is if you can get in an adjoining room and then have your runners be in one room and cheer squad being in a different room, that helps everybody, because then cheer squad's not being woken up.
Yeah.
You can go to bed whenever you want. It's just kind of a win-win across the board. Um, the other thing we'll do is like, even if you're not going to sleep super early, if you can just be in bed resting at like 6 is probably like for us is a good time. Just watching a movie, doing this, like whatever it is, take a moment and lay
Mm-hmm.
in bed. um, I also try and adjust, like I typically fly in for marathon weekend on Wednesday, so I can just adjust to being in Orlando, just like a number of things, adjusting to the room, adjusting to whatever. And I don't race until Sunday because I'm a marathon only girl right now. Um, So, um, yeah, so I try and like kind of shift up, like, okay, if I'm going to bed at 11 normally when I'm home, shifting up by an hour each night. Or trying to stay like just getting in bed earlier. Stay around the resort, go up to the bar, watch the fireworks instead of being in park, making little decisions like that to kind of keep yourself out. It's
To try and
hard.
relax and wind down, right? That's what you're
Yeah.
getting at. Yeah,
It
yeah, yeah.
yeah, it's hard, but it's definitely something that like if you're gonna do a vacation, I would highly recommend doing it on the back end so that you're not like, oh, I'm missing
Mm-hmm.
this out with my family. Like I need to go to bed, right? So yeah, that those are a lot of jumbled random things that I like to do on a race weekend.
Yeah, well,
But
I'm
I
gonna
would
go
say it
ahead
helps
and
a lot. Yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and just highlight what you've said and to kind of summarize it
Yeah.
because there's a lot of what you said that I think is basically information gold for listeners.
Well,
So,
thank you.
ad- adjoining rooms for runners and non-runners, that's huge because that helps with the recovery, quiet time, making sure the lights go out, right? Helps to relax for the right people at the right time. You mentioned how you're a lot more structured in terms of eating and recovery. I think that's a huge point because one, it's really easy to go a little more overboard on just a regular Disney vacation, which I would argue you'd want to be at least a little more structured to at
Yeah.
least be a little more pain free, right? But
Yeah.
then when it comes to a race weekend, if you're doing one race or even multiple races, you got to have a lot more structure to make sure that your body can recover and run the next
Yeah.
day. So that's
Yeah.
huge. That's super huge.
Yeah.
You talked about taking a day or two to adjust to the time zone, and then also to add to that, uh, taking time to sleep a little earlier before you leave. Is that what you're saying, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
That way your body
exactly.
adjusts.
Yeah. Kind of
And
working
then
your clock up. Yeah.
yes, exactly. Which I
Yeah.
think I first heard about that concept from Andrew Huberman when he talked about sleep, which is really,
Mhm.
really, really smart to
Yeah.
get used to the time zone change, especially if you're coming from the West Coast. Like West Coast to East
No,
Coast, East Coast to West Coast, huge different.
it's
3 hours
hard.
makes a
Yeah.
huge yes, it really is. It really is. And then on top of that, so we talked about adjusting to time zone, finding time to relax early on in the evening. So even like starting at 6 o'clock and just finding time to wind down, relax, whatever that is for you,
Hmm.
whatever works for you, works best for you. You should start doing that, whatever it is, because
Yeah.
you described a lot of different things which works for certain people.
Yeah.
So do what works for you, right?
Yeah.
And then the last thing would be if you plan a Disney vacation with your family, plan it on the back end of a race, which
Yeah.
is perfect.
Yeah.
That makes total sense.
Well,
All of that makes a lot of sense.
and it's typically a little bit less crowded, like because I feel like so many runners come in for dopey on the front end, and then a lot of them leave Monday typically. But if you plan
Yeah.
it on the back end, it's probably a little bit less crowded.
Yeah.
So
That totally makes sense. That totally makes sense. Um, what are some things, or what are things that a new Run Disney athlete doesn't think about when they plan their first race?
well, this is such a good one. I would say I feel like there's so many things I wish I knew. Um,
top three.
Ooh, okay. So I would say one of the big ones is if you're doing a challenge weekend, taking two pairs of shoes. Because if it rains, you don't want your feet to be wet. That's a big one.
Mm-hmm.
And if your shoes do get wet, find some newspaper. That was another one I'd read.
Newspaper's huge.
Would, yep, putting them in your shoes to get them dried out. Um, I would say the other thing I really struggled with was fueling in between the race days. So really taking like once again, not a huge planner typically when I go to Disney, but one of the things I've used AI for is asking, hey AI, or hey ChatGPT, I'm going to Magic Kingdom. It's the Wednesday before my full marathon. Tell me the best places to eat that are quick service and what I should be getting. So planning out your meals a little bit more in advance, I would highly recommend.
Yeah.
For the full marathon, I typically a week out, I'm very much controlling what I'm eating, how much I'm eating, all of that, and water intake, stuff like that. But I think for the challenge weekends, it's arguably even more important because you have so many days of it, right? Like
For sure.
you've really got to like plan ahead and get ahead with those things. The I'm trying to think of what my final thing would be.
Well,
Uh,
before you get to your final thing, do you have any restaurants you would recommend for a challenge
okay,
weekend?
yes.
So
Yes.
let's dig into. We've talked a lot about like general run Disney. Let's dig a little bit
Yes.
into marathon weekend, and let's say our listeners planning on doing the marathon in the future or on the marathon weekend in the future. Like, how do they feel from the 5K to the 10K to the half to the marathon?
So I would say it depends on the kind of eater you are. If
Okay.
you can eat the same thing every single day, you just got to find your one thing at the resorts. Um, for me, I cannot do that. So I have to find multiple things to eat for dinner. And so my best advice is if you're at a value resort, kind of check to see if there's like a pasta bar, or something that maybe you can do mac and cheese one night versus spaghetti versus pizza versus
Mm-hmm.
the value resorts have such great options. My other pro tip, and I might regret saying this because this is one of my favorite places to stay when I go for a race weekend, Caribbean Beach has some really great food options, and you
Yes,
can
they
also
do.
access Riviera's food options.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're looking to mix it up, like you can stay in Aruba or one of those resorts that are a little bit closer to Riviera and get the food over there. Coronado Springs, also top tier food for me. That is another must
Very
hit
good.
for
Very
race
good
weekends
choice.
for me.
Yeah.
They're the rotating pasta bar. That really is a game changer. For in parks though, I would say Epcot typically has a lot of food that I like because you have Italy, like you can go for
Mm-hmm.
pizza, you can go for pasta, you can go for all these different things. And there's not typically a festival going on then, which I find helpful.
For
Um,
marathon weekend specifically,
yeah,
right? Yeah.
yeah. Sunshine, the name's escaping me. It's inside the land. Sunshine Seasons?
I think it's
Probably
Sunshine
not right.
Seasons.
Maybe it is. They have some really good kids meals and some very good food options. And that's actually my other tip is I try and avoid foods with like high spice. You don't want to get sick, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
you don't need to risk anything. Kids meals are another one of my go-tos because it's the perfect amount of food typically. It's cheaper, so it saves money. Perfect amount of food and typically isn't super spicy or anything like that. So, Sunshine Seasons, really good food though. Really good. So,
Yeah,
highly
that
recommend.
that's a huge one in terms of know what your stomach can handle, eat what
Yeah.
you know you can handle, but also
Hmm.
if you can't like I'm a big creature of a habit. I can eat the same breakfast every day for the rest of my life.
Oh, yeah.
So if I find the right thing for me, I'm probably just gonna jump on that all weekend
Yeah.
long. You know what I mean? But
And
if
uh,
you're not, then find what works for you.
exactly. And I highly recommend talking, like, if you have the ability to talk to other runners that have gone to a race weekend, like asking typically where they stay. That's probably a typically pretty good gauge of good food options. I mean, all the Disney resorts have such good options. But I think finding a pasta bar is like a real key in being able to fuel, especially for a challenge weekend. Like like if you're doing one race out of a weekend, it's a lot easier to like, oh, I can find the spaghetti at the Swan Dolphin Resort, right? And you can eat there. But I mean, the Boardwalk Resort's another really good area. They have a good
Yes.
yacht, no, not the Yachtsman. Ale and
Yeah.
Compass has a really good
Ah,
pasta.
yeah.
It took me a second to get there to go ordering, right? But even just going on the Disney app before you book a resort hotel and
Oh
checking
yeah.
like, hey, what are their food, what are their dining options? What hours are the dining options, right? Because breakfast, a lot of the resorts do meal boxes that you can buy the day before. It's like $10 for a bagel, banana, and all these different things. Um, but just making sure that you buy that the day in advance, right? Because they're not going to be open
Mm-hmm.
day of the race.
Right.
The other thing I really like to do is fly my own food. So that's like I'll fly bagels. I'll go to Costco, which is where I spend most of my time if I'm not at a Disney park. Go buy my bagels. Go. Bananas are harder to fly, so if you want to do an Instacart order or something like that, or even buying them in the resort area, you typically can find some bananas. So
Yeah.
yeah, just kind of testing leading up to race day what's the right thing to eat, flying if it's something you have to have, and then just figuring out your options on site. But yeah.
I love that. Yeah, these are definitely things that you either don't think of or don't think enough
Yeah.
of when you're planning your first
Yeah.
Run Disney race weekend,
it
for sure.
and it can get you like the food
Yeah,
is like a very crucial part, right?
for sure.
So it's just thinking ahead and like once again leaning on the Run Disney community. I mean, if you're on Facebook and you have a question, go to any one of the race weekend pages, like they have one for each year.
Hmm.
Join it and ask your question there. It's a very supportive community, and it's not super competitive either, which is what like you're competitive with yourself, but like you're encouraging and you want to help other people. I know if somebody reached out to me like, hey, like what would you do for this weekend? It's not like keeping my secrets so I can be the fastest runner, right? It's like, here, let me tell you everything I did.
Yeah.
So that you can have a positive race weekend and you can also love Run Disney like I do.
I think this is
So
also why we got along so well just talking between you and me. It's because you as someone that has done Run Disney, talking to me who has not ever done Run Disney
yeah,
until January. When we first talked, like I you were so open to just telling me everything, you know? And it was great because now I'm like, okay, this is what I have to think about. This is what I'm not thinking about. This is a question
yeah,
that I have, right? So that, and there are a ton of people out there. You're absolutely right in terms of who's on Facebook. If you're on Facebook, you can go to a Run Disney page, a Run Disney group page, and then just search your question. More
yeah,
than likely, it's already have been answered. And if it's not, just ask the community and they're going to
yeah.
help you out.
I mean, and I feel like you have so many like Run Disney influencers, if you want to use that term, like people who really care about Run Disney, right? And want to share their experience. You could probably, I mean, people could DM me on Instagram and be like, let me tell you everything I did. Like, I'll tell you all of the mistakes I've made. I'll share everything. So, like, I feel like even reaching out to somebody that, like, if you see someone on social media, you're like, hey, they did a Run Disney event, like, DM them. Like,
Yeah.
we have all made mistakes over a race weekend. I can almost guarantee that. So passing that knowledge along, I mean, I love doing it. I don't want anybody to make the same mistake I make. They can make a different mistake and then they can pass that along, right? It's knowledge sharing.
Yeah, and again, it
So
comes
yeah.
back to the idea of community, right? Like everyone's
Exactly.
here to help everybody.
Exactly. We want everyone to have a positive weekend. We want
Hmm.
everyone to cross that finish line. And if me having a conversation before a race weekend helps somebody do that, absolutely. Like
Yeah,
there's no doubt in my mind. I would love to help anyone who is looking to join the community. So
I love that. Yeah, and we'll definitely give you a shout out in terms of where to find you. I'll put your information in the show notes later, so anyone that's
yeah.
listening can find you. It'll be really
Yeah.
easy.
You can ask me whatever questions. I'm an open book.
So why don't we go ahead and dive a little bit deeper into the actual marathon weekend in terms of
Yeah.
logistics. So marathon weekend's it's just right around the corner. I feel
It
like
is
I'm
sneaking
not
up.
ready at all, but like I feel like I'm definitely getting there. By the time we get there, I feel like it's gonna be too late, and I'm just gonna run it, and it's gonna be great. It's gonna be fun.
Hey,
Anyhow,
you're gonna be fine. Like you can run it now, believe it or not.
you
It's
know,
like I
to emphasize what you had mentioned several times earlier in our conversation, like you're competing against yourself
yeah.
in the end. No matter what, you're competing against yourself. The pressure that you put on yourself is literally it's the pressure that you put on yourself. So,
Hmm.
you know, to open up and just be part of the community, I feel like that should
Yeah.
be a major goal for anyone that's considering doing a Run Disney race. Just be
Yeah.
part of the community. Immerse
Yeah.
yourself in the
And
magic, right?
it for me, like I we can totally talk about the marathon stuff. Please feel free to cut me off here on my little tangent. But last year, like it was my second marathon, right? So like I was out and I was like, you know what? Like I'm gonna go for a PR, which is truly not that hard when you did a 6.5 hour marathon the first time. Like it's like, like I feel like even with the ride, right? Like with how my training was going, like that was very achievable for me. And I remember it was mile 23 and we were exiting Blizzard Beach. Oh, the good old Blizzard Beach. One of my favorite parts of the course, believe it or not. We could talk
Right.
about that. That is an unpopular opinion, but I enjoy Blizzard Beach.
That is an
Um,
unpopular
we'll
opinion.
talk about that. But I remember exiting, and there was a girl who she had a dopey bib, and she kind of pulled off to the side.
Hmm.
And this guy who was behind me pulled over to check on her, and I jumped off too to like just check in, right? Because
Yeah.
that's what the community does. Like you will see that if somebody falls,
Yeah.
you arguably can have too many people in that situation because everyone wants to help, which is incredible. But we pulled over and like we started talking to her and we're like, come on, like we're gonna keep going. And we finished our marathon together, the three of us. And this girl goes on to tell us her story of how she was supposed to come to Epcot on her 21st birthday and was diagnosed with cancer the week before and couldn't. And so Dopey came back. This was her redemption run. And she crossed, and it was just one of the things that I've always tried to do, now that they hand the medals in the medal or the packaging. This is another good tip for you as well, Stephen, with your first Run Disney events. And this was passed on to me by another Run Disney runner, but have someone who was important to you in your training journey medal you. So we all pulled off to the side, and I shared this fact with them, and we all three medaled each other. And it was truly that it wasn't a PR weekend, but it wasn't meant to be. But it was easily one of the most impactful weekends, and it really showed me what Run Disney means, like genuinely, right? Like it's not always about how fast you are on race day. It's about getting across that line and getting people around you to cross that line. And yeah, it's still such a story that sticks with me. It was just like, you had to like, I was very fortunate to be right near her in that moment. And like, Blizzard Beach, as I said, one of my favorite parts, I was kind of like goofing around. Right. And it's like, that worked really well. 'Cause like, as much as she needed somebody to be like, let's keep going, right? I also needed that, I think, to help propel my running journey, right? And understand, like, why do you do this? And, like, what's the purpose behind everything? But yeah, that's one of my favorite. I have so many Run Disney moments, but that's definitely one that really sticks out. And just how the three of us got each other across.
That's incredible.
So, it was
like, incredible.
It's a very, like, I didn't know how my second marathon, like the first marathon, it's like your first marathon, right? Like it's a big deal. It's like the second one, I was like, I don't know what's going to happen on my second marathon. Like it's just number 2, right?
Right.
And that, I think, easily became a more impactful race than my first one. And just how do you support each other? Taking that moment. But yeah, that's also, in summary, my favorite thing to do is medal like another runner, have your partner do it, like whoever has been there throughout your journey. It just makes that medaling moment even more kind of impactful. And it's something I now do every single race.
I love that. Yeah. Yeah. And I can only imagine how many other incredible stories there are with other, Run Disney athletes. It's amazing.
It really is. And it's so cool to be able to have the opportunity to race with everyone, right?
Yes.
And get to know these stories. And like, I highly recommend you take a moment on your course, like really take in everything that's going on and just like make a friend in the corral, right? Like be there. You're going to see a lot of very nervous people in the corrals, right? Like if you can be there, start up a conversation, support a fellow runner in another way. That's what makes Disney different than I'd say a lot of other races globally. But yeah, let's talk about the marathon weekend route. Let's talk about my unpopular.
Let's dive in a little bit.
Beach opinion.
Excuse the little tangent here. So so real quick, kind of a 20,000 foot view of what marathon weekend looks like, at least for this upcoming January in 2026. Marathon weekend really starts on January 7th, I think, with Expo, right? And then on the 8th is the 5K, the 9th is the 10K, the 11th, the 10th is the half, the 11th is the marathon. You get what I'm talking about. Yeah. Anyhow, so let's dive into the different courses. It looks like, so I've got the all the courses pulled up on my computer here. It looks like both the 5K and the 10K are very similar in terms of where they run through. Of course, the 10K is double the distance of the 5K, but they're both in Epcot. You both go around World Showcase with a little extra on the 10K, right? Anything you want to note from those courses?
I would say no. I would say the big thing with the 5K is the character lines. If you are in a further back corral, like yours truly, they're going to be long. So you can stop and wait. Like there's no balloon ladies. There's nothing pressuring you. I mean, they do obviously have to open the park at some point. So there is like, they at some point will come through and be like, come on, let's get going. But yeah, like, take your time, really enjoy those moments. World Showcase is a really unique area. And just being able to see it at night as a runner is really cool. The other thing is with our PhotoPass people that are out and about, they're in the little green tents. They'll have a example of the green tent at Expo. but keep your eyes peeled. A lot of them will be in showcase. You will never find a PhotoPass person in backstage or out on the highway.
Makes sense.
So take advantage of those moments when you're in showcase, when you're in Hollywood, like any one of these. The boardwalk will also have them. And if you are trying to get as far as you can to the left or the right, like obviously be respectful of the other runners, like you don't want to trip anybody.
Yeah.
But if you can kind of see them coming, like you'll see these really big lights if it's dark. Kind of keep your eyes peeled and start navigating and getting to where you need to be to get the action shot, right? You gotta get the photos.
You gotta get the photos.
I would say those are the two big things.
Okay.
The other thing to know, if it is your first race weekend, is they will ask you to be quiet on the boardwalk, so it will be very quiet back there. Like you can just hear like the pitter patter of the shoes. And if you have family members cheering from the boardwalk, if it is, I honestly don't know what the cutoff time is for like you can't be loud, but they will have to be silent cheers. They can still be out, but they will have to be quiet, and they do have people enforcing that. So
got it. And that's out of respect for the guests sleeping there.
Yeah, right? They don't want to wake up all the people that didn't know it's marathon weekend.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yep, it does. Or as a marathon only girl, I don't want to be woken up by the dopey people. Like, it's a 10K.
For sure.
So no. But yeah, it's still a really good area to go cheer. It's a great way to see family, especially if you're staying in that area. You just will have to be quiet.
Yeah, that makes sense. Cool. So let's dive deeper into. It looks like I have the half marathon and the marathon courses pulled up. Similar but not.
Yeah.
But like identical to last year, because we were just talking about that. Yes. But in terms of the half versus the marathon, like talk to me about it.
Yeah, so I've actually never run the half course, just to be clear. I know that typically, like, you get that Main Street moment on both, though. Can you remind me what mile marker the Main Street is for the half? It's like 5.
Let's see. For the half, 5. I'm seeing 6 if I'm looking at the right part of the map.
6. So it's something.
It's like 5.5. I guess it's technically mile.
Yeah,
5.
like right. So like you'll hit Magic Kingdom at around 5.
Yeah.
So it is like you got to keep that adrenaline going with you for the rest of the race. So I would say my best piece of advice for somebody doing that, and trust me, same thing goes for the full marathon people, is like storing some energy, right? Like it is really easy to sprint down Main Street, but like take the moment. I so clearly remember turning on Main Street for my first marathon, because I'd never done Princess. I'd never done a race where you got to see the castle until my first marathon. And I remember turning and seeing the people, and there's no quiet hours on Main Street. Like they are so loud. They're so excited. And it is truly just, it is unlike anything I've ever experienced. That is one of the areas I never have my phone out on, because I like to take it all in, right? Like just seeing my family on Main Street, seeing the castle, seeing all of like these people who woke up, they're not even running, and they woke up at 2:00 in the morning to come cheer you on. Like it's incredible.
Yeah.
So that's definitely one of my favorite parts of both the half marathon and the full marathon route. But yeah, keeping that energy, because you exit the park right around 7, right? For the half?
Yeah, a little bit after mile 6 is when you exit, and like before we
so it's like that's not a ton of park time.
No.
So making sure you store that in, and then you hit the highway, right? Mm-hmm. Like, and you gotta keep it together. The back half, and that is something that I also have to do on the full marathon, because you get to go by the garbage facilities. But we can talk about that in a moment.
I haven't told listeners yet, but this is really my first time actually digging into the routes, and I'm looking at it and I'm like, wow, from the start for the half, from the start where you're starting in the Epcot parking lot, mile 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you're basically on either highway or like back road passing the Grand Floridian, the Polynesian. Then it's mile 5 when you really get into Magic Kingdom for literally mile and a half until you get into the back stretch. And that's what you were talking about in terms of that back stretch, because there's not much. There really isn't much.
No, there's not. Like on the full marathon route, right? Like you hit Animal Kingdom. I actually just pulled it up, like right around 17. So it makes it definitely a little bit easier. But yeah, that you hit a lot of highway. The benefit though of the highway areas is that you do still have characters. So you do have PhotoPass people there, well, obviously with characters.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
and then they do sometimes bring out these big TVs that they'll show you Disney Plus ads, which are fun. Which by Disney Plus ads, I mean just clips from movies.
Love it.
Um, but it's a very solid advertisement for Disney Plus. You're like, wow, I would love to watch Lilo and
Of
Stitch right now
course.
instead of being on a highway at 6 a.m.
Suffering.
But yeah, so they have a lot of entertainment on the highway. It's just
That's
something
right.
to like mentally prep yourself. The benefit of the highway is that's typically where the food is, the food snack, because it's a lot easier to serve people food on a highway stretch than it is inside the park.
Who'd have
So
thunk?
that is one plus side of the highway. But yeah, it's the highway is the mental part of that, like of the run. It's
Yeah.
those stretches is really what does it.
Would you suggest
So
like taking a Sharpie and just writing out mile markers of where you would expect things to be? Like, for example,
you could,
you talked about how you want to keep your energy high after going through Main Street and Magic Kingdom. Like, I think it'd be a good idea to know, hey, Magic Kingdom is around mile 5, 6 for the half,
yeah. And
and
I
then
know on the Facebook groups, a lot of people do like little Canva screensavers that they're like, hey,
then
5.5 is Magic Kingdom. So they,
check.
yeah,
Yeah,
and then
that's
you can make
clever.
it your phone background so you can look at it. So either Sharpie that, using the screensaver, like I would have a mental picture of when you're going to see something. Um, I am a studier of the maps, I would say, which I don't know if that's good or bad because sometimes you're like, oh, I'm in that really hard stretch of 14, right? You're like, there's no end in sight. But I do really like looking at the maps because I can like, oh, like this is next, this is next. Or for people who hate Blizzard Beach, couldn't be me. Like how long do you have in the Blizzard Beach parking lot? So
Right.
just things like that.
Yeah, and
So
so if you have gone on like a training run in the past and you're kind of trying to figure out where to run, or you're in a new neighborhood and you don't quite know your route,
mhm.
but you kind of know, you have an idea of what the route's going to be.
Yes.
There's a difference between running that route, knowing what it's going to be, but not having run it yet, and actually having run it and
Yeah.
knowing what to expect, right? Because if you haven't run it before, or if you don't know what to expect, 3 miles really can feel like 10 miles. But if you know what to expect,
Yes.
then
And
you
it's
know
easy.
what's
Yeah.
coming up, and exactly. So that makes
I
a lot of sense.
One of the things I also do while training, and this might be crazy. I really don't know. But I listen to the same playlist every single run that I do, which once again might be a little bit crazy. But I build on it as I build my miles. So it's like songs that I like in the certain period of like when I did my 10 mile or when I did this, when I did that. So it's all in every marathon season, it changes. That's an important note. Um,
Mm.
so like for me right now, at mile 6-ish with my pacing, I hit the Phineas and Ferb soundtrack. So like I then sit there and I'm like, mile 6, where would I be on the Disney course? Oh, I'll be outside the Polynesian, I think, at that point. So it's like I listen to Phineas and Ferb here in Texas, and then when I go on the course, I'm like, oh, it's mile 6, Phineas and Ferb's on. Like I'm coming up on X, Y, and Z. So that's another way that I handle like mentally kind of running.
Yeah.
Once again, might be a little bit crazy, I don't know, but it's really worked for me because I then can like kind of check in of like, oh hey, like my pacing's good. So and it's always fun to hear the Phineas and Ferb soundtrack. So it's always
There
like a
you
highlight of
go.
mile 6, right? That it's
It
like
keeps the
you might
energy
not be
up.
seeing anything.
It
Yeah,
totally keeps the
like
energy up. I love that.
yeah, yeah. So picking songs that you need in those dark moments, another good like your hype up song. I don't know, Phineas and Ferb soundtrack. I mean, you got so many options. So,
Yeah, I
but
love
yeah,
that. So we've covered big landmarks for especially the half and the marathon. We've
yeah.
covered how to plan, what to expect for each course. We've also covered, the fact that water and fuel stops tend to be on like the highways or the back end of the course,
Yeah.
which is really important to
They'll
know.
have water in. They'll also have water in the parks, but they're
Okay.
typically like the fuel stops specifically are going to be outside most of the time.
Got it. Got it. Let's quickly go over the fact that yes, there are bathroom stops, but there are certain bathroom stops that are maybe more preferable than others, is what I hear.
Yes. Lesson learned the hard way, for sure. Um, yeah, so my best advice to somebody who's kind of coming out for the first time and running a Disney race, especially like the full marathon, I would highly recommend thinking about like how often you need to use the bathroom when you're training, and like what mile markers those are near. For me, my goal is to always hit a bathroom in a park. They're typically a lot cleaner. The lines are a little bit longer than like a porta potty, but it's still sometimes worth the wait, I would say. But the park bathrooms are open on the route. So that is important to know. Like you will have access to porta potties on the highway. Once again, not my speed anymore. Like you learn that lesson a couple times and then you're like, I'm done. So there's always one specifically on that 10K route. As you exit Epcot, you go by the UK. There's a good bathroom there. Like that's before you exit and go on the high. That's one of my big 10-miler ones.
Yeah.
Because that's right before you start hitting the highway. But try and know your bathrooms in parks, especially if you're not a frequent park goer, like maybe you're not an AP or you're taking a trip every couple of years. Take a look at the route and take a look at where the bathrooms are and maybe plan that out. Just so you're not caught at mile 14 having to use porta potty. Like it's not, that was a dark moment in my race last year, I won't lie. So helping new runners prevent that. That's my goal as a Run Disney alumni here. Helping people have better race weekends. So
yeah, I think that topic is going to be so big. I think we should go ahead and make a separate video just talking about bathrooms.
More than happy.
I think specifically along the marathon route. So, for future reference, if you're listening to this before the 2026 marathon weekend, please look into the show notes for the link to that video so you learn more about, because bathroom stops are kind of a big deal. Come on, let's be real, especially when you're running between 4 and 6 hours. Yes.
I had no concept of how important they were until I ran my first marathon. I was like, oh, this is really not fun.
Yeah, add that to the list of things you don't think enough about.
Yep. The things you never knew mattered until you ran a full marathon. So,
Amazing.
But yeah, even for any race distance, like you would much rather hit a bathroom on your way out of a park. And it's typically early on, so you're probably running a little bit faster at that point anyways, depending on your pacing. If you're me, you're running faster at that point anyways, so you have a little bit more buffer time. So it just makes it easier. And an overall better experience. So
love it. Jessie, where can everybody find you, especially if they want to DM you with questions about Run Disney with the race coming up?
So the best way to get a hold of me, I would say, is my travel page where I post all of my chaotic travel adventures. And that's at the World with Jess. So you get a plethora of Disney, non-Disney, mistakes I've made, a lot of mistakes I've made that I try and pass on to people who travel. Or if you want to reach out to Two Lane Travel, that's, my family agency that we have. And it's been super fun just to be able to help a lot. I actually booked a lot of people for Run Disney weekend. And I'm like, stay at these places. And even if you don't use me as a travel agent, I would love to help. I would love to provide advice, and just helping you have the best race weekend possible. That's truly all. That is where I get my joy, is passing on the joy I've found at Run Disney to others and giving them the best possible experience they can have, whether that be telling you what my go-to hotels are for a race weekend, or saving you from a painful bathroom experience at mile 14. Anything I can do to help, like that is what the Run Disney alumni, I don't know if that's an appropriate term because it's not a college, but Run Disney alumni, that's what we're here for. So we want to help everybody. We want to make sure everyone has a great weekend and bring more people into our big loving group. So yeah, anything I can do, happy to help. So
thank you so much. Appreciate it. That concludes this episode of Happily Ever Active. If you're looking for a way to ease your way into training for your first Run Disney race, I have just the thing for you. This 30-day Disney walking challenge is designed to start gentle and then progress in length and intensity so that you'll conquer the Disney parks all day without burnout. Every day for 30 days, you'll be guided through your challenge with your walking workout for the day, an inspirational Disney quote, and a PDF worksheet to track your progress. You'll be amazed by how much stronger and confident you'll feel at the end of the challenge. So head over to www.fitforthemagic.com/30 to sign up for your 30-day walking program. Okay, so I want to turn it over to you, the listener. Which character would you dress as for your next Run Disney race? If you love what you hear and want to learn more, I encourage you to head over to fitforthemagic.com where you'll find more resources on how to have a pain-free vacation. And if you enjoy this episode, please make sure to share it with anyone who might benefit from it. And of course, please leave a rating or review in your favorite podcast app if you enjoyed the show. This helps me tremendously as I move forward with new episodes to come. I hope you'll tune in to learn more about how to have a pain-free, soreness-free, exhaustion-free vacation so that you can make magical memories with your loved ones.